All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome to a very calm, mild, beautiful Saturday afternoon here in the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. As you can see behind me, we got our first true dusting accumulation of snow last night. I didn't even know it was coming. I apparently haven't been paying attention. Rumor has it it's about 2.5 inches. This will not stick around. Right now it's 31 degrees, and we're expected to get up to 36 degrees in about 2 hours. So yeah, beautiful Saturday afternoon. I mentioned something the other day about a firewood video here on, for today. We're going to cheapen it up a little bit. I'll show you and tell you why. But nonetheless, beautiful day for a little ride. Okay, there's a couple things going on here. This is not the normal fashion of hauling firewood back to the farm or homestead. In fact, this is a little bit of a laughable joke, but that's okay. Number one, I have some doings going on here in just a little bit. I do need to get my butt in gear. I don't have the time that it takes to do the normal fashion. I'll explain it to you. Number two, the ground, even though we've had some chillier weather, the ground is not exactly completely frozen. Not to mention, this snow is extremely soft and wet. Therefore, for me to put the tractor and the wagon together with a monstrous load of firewood, all in one shot, I have to basically drive through my front yard to get to the wood chute that goes down into the basements on the north side of the house. And I really don't care to be fixing yards in the spring if I can help it. So therefore, I'm opting to forget about all that. Plus, I don't have the time. And we just came out here for a very enjoyable little ride here with the truck. And yeah, I had some time. It's either you sit in the damn house like an idiot, or take a beautiful ride and come get a little bit of firewood. So that's kind of what I got going on here right at the present moment. Half cold coffee. Just can't beat it sometimes. Okay, normally what I would do is I would take the 6420, put the loader bucket on it, and either wagon, I've got Big Bertha hay hauler wagon, or the smaller one. Is it 16 feet, something like that. And naturally, what I would do is I would pull right up to the pile, and I would stack the sides of the wagon, maybe a foot and a half in height. Turn around, do the same damn thing, stack the other side. Then what I would do is come out to this field here, which is actually the small pasture number 9, paddock number 9. Drop the wagon, and then quite simply load up the bucket, drive out to the wagon, dump it, and bring home just a mountain of a load of firewood, and pick up whatever falls off in the springtime through the pasture system. Every year there's firewood halfway littered on the way to the barn. Gosh dang it, I had some onions for lunch, and I always complain about that, don't I? Well, I don't like to learn, so I'm almost positive you can, we actually got a beautiful winter fog here. I'm positive you can see the farmstead and home. And yeah, I tell you what, that was a real treat to wake up this morning. Full cup of coffee. Quite naturally a fresh chew, whether you agree with that or not. You got to have some vices. Today's day and age, I think having a good chew is a pretty small vice. Anyway, beautiful walk to the farm, into the barn this morning, And yeah, this is just absolutely fantastic. I'm seeing 37 or 38 degrees on Wednesday though. But we're also being called for 6, 7, 8 inches of snow. So we're going to see what happens there for that Wednesday. That could be a messy disaster that we do not need. We do not need a slop fest here. The yards are in fair shape for the most part. And one of those storms is the last we need. All right, let's talk about this here. Well, number one, this is a 60-acre hardwoods. This hardwoods, along with the rest of the property, is the original homesteaded farm since 1882. I'm generation number 5. Very proud and honored to say that. I just hope it doesn't fall on me. Forget about that nonsense talk. This hardwoods here has brought in heat to 5 different homesteads, multiple other homesteads as well, whether it was selling firewood back in the day or even just of recent, and family members in need. This hardwoods has brought in money, not a lot of it, but when it was so desperately needed, let's just say during the Great Depression, whatnot. This is a very honored, strong, heritaged, I even say sacred piece of property. The entire homestead is, but this hardwoods is something extremely special. We are all hardwood, obviously in here. I'm calling it the hardwoods. Predominant maple, hard maple. We still have some some beech in here, but just like about anywhere else, we got undertaken with the overtaken by what I'm going to call the beech bug, and it basically decimated the beech within this hardwoods. So a lot of the firewood that, of course, is cut in the hardwoods, cut and split there and left there to be picked up, is beech. And then, of course, your blow down maples. It's not very often that a tree gets just cut down to be cut up for firewood. You know, this is 60 acres. The amount of blowdowns, and of course the beech, if you're lucky enough to get it before it's all rotten in the middle. Boy, I tell you what, them pesky bastards. Well, I got my you-know-what in a ringer 2 years ago. Based on time, everything else. I feel a little ashamed to admit this, but I need to. I actually bought this. I've got a logger buddy of mine. You know, up here, it's you're either logging or you're farming. And a lot of things in between. That made a lot of sense, didn't it? It was about 2 years ago, I think. The mills were hardly paying nothing for wood, which has been a big problem up here on and off. And so he had a whole bunch of wood that was staged and yarded that he instead sold as firewood with a very nice, respectful price tag on it. I got myself in a ringer that year. I ended up, I think I had him bring me in like 12 or 14 cords. So I've been bleeding off this pile here for a couple years or so. And of course you have your stacked wood here. It should have been, it should be more, but this is what life and time allots sometimes. You know, the rule of thumb is your firewood cut, split, and stacked for curing come Easter for that coming winter's burning of firewood. And that's exactly what happened here. In fact, a lot of this was done, some of this was done in February, March. And it's good stuff. Not to mention, it's been stick cut for over 2 years. So this stuff just goes up kind of like a match. But it's hardwood, so, you know, it takes wild burn. Best of both worlds. Not a lot of wood here, not a lot at all, but this is probably going to start being the norm. You know, I put that pellet stove in the house, and that's an amazing son of a gun. And yeah, I usually don't keep nowadays a fire going all day long, all day strong, unless of course it's 0 or below. Otherwise, you know, it's always a fire in the evening. Sometimes I start it before I go do evening chores. Sometimes I come in and start it afterwards and stock it up before I go to bed. And of course, the next morning it's usually out. Once in a while, you'll get lucky and there'll be some hot ashes down there, especially if you haven't cleaned the stove for a little while. And if that's ever the case in the mornings with some hot ashes, as long as there's a chill in the air, I'll throw a few chunks in there. It helps out. But yeah. So this is firewood. It's pretty stinking obvious. We're out at camp as well. I know it's not really the norm to have a hunting camp this close to home, but you need to understand, you know, as farm operation and a young farm family, dairy operation, we couldn't pack up and go to hunting camp for 7 days and live like a mountain man. Couldn't do it. So I wish you could see that camp when it was first brought here. It was actually a torn down small cottage out by Lake Michigan that Dad obviously had ends on, and he got the structure for free and everything in it. There was even 2 stoves in there. One of them is still the main stove in the back. It's beautiful. Got it for free, just had to pay for some of the crane service, I'll assume, and then obviously the trucking out here. But throughout the years, and especially when, you know, myself and my brothers, you know, stopped being freeloaders and actually were, you know, we've been earning a living. Yeah, that camp is more than double the size than what it used to be. And then, of course, you'd call that board and batten cedar planking. And or is that pine? No, I think, no, that's pine. That's pine. And then obviously the front porch and everything else. I believe I've done a couple of videos out here. You got the old-fashioned log outhouse. I'm sure you can see that. Before I built my man's garage, you know, on my old homestead that, you know, I built that new home there for that log home. That little storage shed was there. That obviously got moved and put out here, which of course serves as whatever, plus a generator shack for the camp, which we actually have removed. Because we have 2 solar panels on there. Now we're in the woods, so it can get kind of tricky, but it seems to do the job. And then of course we have gas lights in there as well, a wood stove, and then a fuel oil stove. Yeah, there is an immense amount of heritage out here that cannot even be explained to you. In fact, the stories have it that there's we find stuff out here all the time. Stuff from like old drays. Drays are, you know, it's a wagon that drags on the ground by a anyway, I think you know what I mean. We'll find old dray skids out here, pieces of old logging chain. It's pretty special, pretty neat. Rumor has it, many generations ago, it's very possible that my great-grandfather liked to make some of that feel-good stuff. And rumor has it there's barrels buried out here. I don't know. I have no choice but to believe in it. Maybe someday I'll start digging for them. Who knows? We'll see. But yeah, pretty neat. Someday, maybe in the spring or summer, we'll and I swear I've done this. We'll jump on the Ranger, and I'll just turn on the video and we'll go through the trails. We got a pretty nice little trail system through the hardwoods. It's pretty neat. Big enough for a tractor and wagon to fit through, to go pick up the piles of split wood. So that's it, folks. I got to get running. I don't even really have time to drop this off, but who knows? I might come out for another load right after chores. How can you not with a day like today? But yeah, hope everything's going okay. Everybody's having a fair weekend. And one way or another, we're going to talk to you sooner and later. Have a good day.